Hello everyone and welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well. I thought that we would have a sewing day for this week's video because I am very much in need of one. There has been quite a lot of talking on my channel over the last few weeks and I have absolutely loved sharing my Get Set for Autumn Sewing series with you. It's been such fun doing all the research and I just love, as you know, putting those videos together and just sharing all the sewing inspiration. But whilst I was doing that, I didn't have a lot of time to sew for myself. So I am determined this October to get a really good start on my autumn sewing. And I will be sharing an autumn sewing plans video with you soon, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that one. But anyway, for today I thought I would sew up one of my sort of early autumn sewing plans, which if I don't get it made soon, it's going to be too cold probably to wear it. So what I want to get sewn this week is the Tess dress by Chalk and Notch. That rhymes and it's also a little bit of a mouthful. The Tess dress pattern was actually released, I think, around the end of August time, sort of late to summertime. And it was quite a quick, spontaneous purchase for me. And the reason I bought it so quickly is because I'd just been out to the shops a few days before this pattern was released and I saw this lovely t-shirt dress in H&M and I very nearly bought it, but I didn't. I thought I could so easily make something like that. I'm not going to buy it. But I decided to buy this pattern not only based on the dress but also because it's such a versatile pattern. So not only do you get the dress version of the pattern, but you also get a tank top version and lots of other t-shirt versions and various different necklines as well. So if you are someone that makes and wears t-shirts and vests and tanks and sort of easy to wear things, I think this is a really good value pattern, and that is the reason why I decided to buy this. So I bought the pattern as a PDF and I had it printed out by the fold line, all still very neatly folded up here. I haven't even opened this out yet. I have been getting my patterns printed more and more lately, and that really is just to save myself time. And not only have I been having them printed, I've also been cutting straight into them. But yeah, at the moment I'm just finding that I'm not having as much time to sew, so I really want to save myself as much time as possible where I can. I was an avid tracer in the past. I used to really try and trace everything and preserve my patterns as much as I can. But I think nowadays where I've got a PDF, I would much rather have it printed and then cut straight into it. I've still got the file if I ever need to print it again. And of course I can then ask for the fold line or somewhere similar to reprint the pattern for me if I actually need it again in the future. That's just where I am in my sewing life and my actual life at the moment. I just need to save time where I can in order to get as much sewing time back. Anyway, so that's the pattern that I want to be using, and the fabric that I've brought is this lovely Tencel loop back French terry from Meat Milk. I brought this from Minerva quite a while ago now when they had a little sale going on their Meat Milk section. Meat Milk is one of my favourite fabric brands and I've bought quite a few jerseys from them in the past, and I really do like their jersey fabrics. Often they will use Tencel and modal in their knit fabrics and it just gives them such a soft and sort of drapey, really lovely, really easy to wear feel. They are slightly on the more expensive side of fabric brands, I would say, which is why I always try and get them in the sale wherever they do come up. But I would say that I do think you get what you pay for, so you are paying a little bit more, but you're definitely getting the quality. So yeah, I've gone for it in this lovely bottle green colour, which is definitely a colour that I am veering towards at the moment. It's a colour of the season. I've been seeing this colour in the shops everywhere on the high street, and it was one of the colours I mentioned in my Sew the Trends colours, patterns and prints videos, and it's also one of the colours that came up in my own colour analysis. So I decided to branch out from my usual browns and beiges and blues and go for something green instead. Anyway, I've just been having a little look at the sizing of the pattern because I'm kind of between two sizes and I'm finding that more and more these days. So based on my body measurements, I'm actually between a size 0 and a size 2. So as I usually do, I've been having a look at the finished garment measurements to decide what size pattern I'm going to sew, and I've decided to go for a size 2. So because this is a knit dress, there is some negative ease in the pattern. There's negative ease given in the bust and at the hips. I think this will be a trial garment. I don't want to go too big and oversized. because I am quite small and I think I need something that makes me look a little bit more shapely. So even though I don't want the dress to be too clingy, I do want it to give me some shape as well. So I'm kind of erring on the side of caution at the moment and going for a size 2, which I think should pretty much give me my actual body measurements. We will see. I'm going to go for short sleeves for now because I want to be able to layer this up for autumn time, so I want to be able to easily wear jumpers and cardigans and jackets and things over it before it gets too cold. There is a longer sleeve version of the pattern, which if all goes to plan and I like this dress at the end, I may make again for autumn time when it gets a little bit colder. And so my aim for the day today is to get the pattern cut out and to get my fabric cut out, and then I'd like to come back tomorrow and have a sewing day if all goes to plan. Before I do get into cutting out, I just want to give a quick mention to the sponsor of today's video, which is Serious Readers. If you're not familiar with Serious Readers, they are a lovely local to me lighting company who build bespoke lighting solutions for crafters like you and me, who love to craft into the evening, whatever the light and whatever the weather, but sometimes struggle a little bit with our eyesight and maybe getting the focus that we need on whatever we're working on. Each Serious Readers light is fitted with something called daylight wavelength technology, which helps replicate the daylight spectrum as close as is technically possible. Not only this, each light is also fitted with a dimmer function and a beam width function as well. So it's really easy to get just the right amount of light and focus exactly where you need it. The lights also come with a flexible neck and a swivel head as well, again helping you to just get the right focus exactly where you want it. I have a floor standing HD light which tends to sit in the living room with me, and I use this in the mornings and in the evenings when I come down to read and it's still dark outside, but I also use it lots in the evening for whenever I'm knitting or working on my English paper piecing hexie quilt, which takes quite a lot of eye focus, and I also use it for crochet and anything else that I need a little bit of extra focus on too. Because my HD light has a lightweight base, it's really easy to pick it up and move it into another room. So I do also tend to use it in this dining room if I'm ever cutting out or sewing late into the evening, and it really gives me a great bit of extra focus, especially when I'm working on my sewing machine and I need to thread needles, which I'm finding increasingly difficult these days. Serious Readers HD lights come in lots of other colours and accent finishes, so it's really easy to choose a light that blends really nicely into your own home decor and fits in really well. If you'd like to find out more about Serious Readers and have a look at their full range of HD lights, I will leave a link to their website here on the screen and also in the video description down below. And I really hope that you'll pop over and check them out after you finish watching this video. Thank you so much to Serious Readers for sponsoring today's video. morning everyone, it's the next day now. I got everything cut out and ready to go yesterday, so I was really pleased with that. It actually came together very quickly in terms of a cutting out project. There's literally just a front and back piece, a neckband and the sleeve pieces. I'm all set up and ready to go. I have threaded up all of my machines and I've also just done myself an extra bobbin so that when I come to do the twin needling I'm all ready to go, because I'm terrible at not preparing things like that. So I've been reading through the pattern this morning. It looks as though it's quite a nice straightforward construction, similar to how you would construct a t-shirt normally. We just have the side splits to do at the sides. First of all though, it does say to stabilise a couple of the pattern pieces. It does say optional fusing, but I think I'm actually going to put the fusing in this time. I'm not always a massive fan of interfacing and I try and get away with putting it in wherever I can, but I know on jersey garments, particularly if they are quite drapey and heavy, they can stretch out along the shoulders, and also it says to fuse pieces onto the hem slits as well. And I think that might be quite a good thing to do because it might help it to sort of hang a bit nicer and give it a little bit more weight. And then we need to overlock around the bottom hem pieces of the dress, because they are going to be the bits that are going to sort of flap open, and that's what you're going to see when the slits are open. So yeah, right, let's get this preparation done and then we can get into the sewing. So that's all my preparation work done in terms of overlocking the edges, and I've also just sewn the shoulder seams together. So the next thing we do is actually fit the neckband. So the neckband has actually got some notches in it which mark the quarter-in points, and then it tells you in the pattern to fit the neckband in the usual quartering method way. I've just put a tutorial or a little reel kind of tutorial thing out over on Instagram for how I quarter neckbands, so if that is useful I will pop that link in the video description for you. Otherwise I think it's a pretty standard method for fitting neckbands. So what I need to do is just sew this neckband together at the short end across here, and then I would press the neckband open and then press it in half again, and then we quarter the neckline of the dress in the same way and just stretch the neckband to fit. I also wanted to mention that I'm really trying to not handle the fabric too much while I'm sewing, and I'm trying to really make sure that I don't pull the fabric as it's going through the machine, because I really don't want anything to stretch out of place. Because the dress is quite long, the whole thing is quite heavy and it does sort of want to pull, especially when you're doing things like ironing and pressing the shoulder seams. It wants to sort of hang off the ironing board, so I'm really just trying to be careful with it. Anyway, onto the neckband. my neckband is in. Let's all breathe a sigh of relief. I think no matter how many neckbands I put in, I will still feel slightly nervous about them. But I think I've got a good system for doing them now. The quartering method obviously always works really nicely. So I pin everything in place with the quartering method. I baste it with a sewing machine. If I'm happy and there's no puckers, I then overlock it together, and then I press it again, and then I twin needle, and then I press again. So lots of pressing involved, but I think that's okay, and I'm really happy with my thread matching, not so much on the overlocker, but the actual thread is matching really nicely, and I just had that in my thread box, so I didn't have to buy anything new. Okay, so next we are on to the sleeves, and the sleeves are put in flat, no sewing in the round or anything like that. So I'm going to pin the sleeves in place and then just sew them directly on the overlocker. The next thing we need to do is sew the side seams. So I've pinned from the underarm of the sleeve here, which is just a tiny little seam, right the way down to where the slit begins. And there is a notch here for where the slit will start. So we just sew to that notch point, and then we're able to open out the slit and just sew that in place on its own. So I am going to overlock. You could obviously sew that on the machine and then open it out and press it open if you wanted to. But for me, I'm just going to overlock up to that notch, and then I'm going to press it towards the back. So I've sewn the side seams, and I've also just pressed them to the back, and then continue to press and pin the side slits as well. So the pattern says at this point that you should try the dress on just to check the length of the hem, and then if you want to take any off the length of the hem, you can just chop it off the bottom, so that's nice and easy. I forgot to say at the beginning of this video that I actually left length on the pattern, so rather than cutting the paper pattern piece to my own size's length, I actually cut to the longest length, the longest size length. So I had all of the length on there. I do like to do that sometimes just because I'm always a bit fearful of cutting anything too short, and I always feel like you can take length off but you can't put it back on. And I did want this dress to be quite long so that I could wear it with boots in autumn and winter time. Anyway, I'm going to pop upstairs and just try this on now and see what I think about the length. For turning up the hem, we need to fold the side slits back on themselves, right sides together, and the pattern says to measure up 3.5 centimetres from the bottom of the hem and just sew this little bit in place, and that is so that you can turn it through then, and then your hem will be turned up at the same time, which gives a nice neat finish. So I've just folded back and pinned the hem in place, and I'm going to twin needle all around the bottom of the hem and then up the slits, across and then down again. And on the inside of the slits, there's this little bit that's annoying me. So it's a little bit raggedy, can you see where the slit opens? So what I'm going to do is just put a pin there and just try to sew across a little bit higher than the actual slit is, if that makes sense, so that I can sort of catch those raw edges in as well. And that should sew like a centimetre seam allowance across that raw edge as well. I'm going to be doing it from the wrong side, obviously, so I just need to make sure that I do stop at the right place and just go over that raw edge. Okay, we're all done. I had a little bit of a disastrous finish there in the end. You know how these things always happen just when you're on the very last stages. First of all, my bobbin ran out that I was using as a second thread for the twin needle. So I filled that up, and then as I was threading it back through the twin needle, I don't know what I was doing. I kind of had the needle into the fabric and I twisted the fabric slightly and started sewing, and the needle broke. And I didn't have another twin needle to finish off the hem, so I had to finish some of the hem, kind of mimic the twin needle with 2 lots of straight stitches, which was so annoying. But anyway, it is done now, and I have to say I'm really happy with this. I think it's a lovely little pattern actually, very nice, very simple. There's nothing, you know, groundbreaking about it. It's just a really nice layering t-shirt dress. I'm not going to be able to show you the whole of this in the frame, but I will, as always, just pop in some pictures of the finished dress. So what I would say about the sizing of this pattern, this is very fitted on me. It's certainly fitted to my body measurement, so it's quite a bodycon kind of dress. I'm not sure if I would wear it on its own and feel massively confident in it. I maybe should have sized up if I was going for the more oversized kind of H&M style look, but to be honest, I often like that look on other people, but I think, again, because I am quite petite and quite small, sometimes those kind of oversized fits can drown me a little bit, especially if I'm going for a longer dress. For me, I would always just wear this kind of dress under something. So this is the kind of dress I will wear under a cardigan or under a shirt or under a jacket. But yeah, it's not necessarily a dress that I would just wear out on its own. I would always like layer it with something. I have a couple of ready-to-wear dresses like this that are a rib knit, and I found I got so much wear out of them last winter time because I just used to wear them with knee-length boots and then something over the top like a light jacket or something, and I really liked that look, so I think that's definitely how I'm going to be styling this one. Really like this fabric. It's lovely and soft. It's got a nice weight and a nice drape to it, and it's hanging really nicely and it feels nice on, and there's quite a good amount of stretch in it as well for a French terry, so that's really good. I think this would be a great pattern for beginners, so if you are a beginner looking to make something similar, I really think this would be a good pattern for you. The instructions are pretty good and really clear, and this was a really quick project. I think all in all I've sewed that in about 2.5 hours, so yeah, a really nice, quick and easy one. I'll definitely be making it again, and I'd like to try some of the t-shirt options as well. So I think I'll leave the video here and just say thank you for joining me for another sewing day. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and I'd love to have you as a subscriber if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I do post sewing videos like this every Sunday at 8 AM, and there will be lots more autumn sewing content coming up as we get into the autumn winter months. Do let me know, as always, what you're sewing in the comments. I love to know, and I love to chat to you there. Don't forget, you can also follow me over on Instagram at Made by Sally Gauntlet, and you can also join my Patreon community for extra sewing videos, tutorials, pictures and things like that. We've just finished a whole sew along over there for the Amelia bomber jacket, and that was really good fun for me to sew it up and share the process of sewing that. So I'd love to have you over there if you fancy popping over and seeing what that's all about. Right, I'm going to go now and tidy up all this mess. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.